Hello, in this video series, I will give you my 5 best tips for writing. I am a self-published author, and as of this video, I am working on releasing my current series, The Guardian of Light. Please do not force yourself to follow this advice if you think it just won't work for you. If this advice does help, that is great. On to my first piece of advice. Number 1. Remember, it is art. Writing is no different than painting a picture. Some of the best artists can repeat the same patterns over and over. Look at Bob Ross, one of the greatest and most well-known painters of our age. He made over 1,000 of paintings, each one a landscape. Yet he did just enough to make each one different from each other. The point of this advice is when you're creating a story, sometimes it comes down to your best opinion. You have to decide what works for you and go with it. For example, as I was writing my first 2 books in the series, I watched a video where this writer was talking about a breaking point. She did not clarify if it was a singular story or a series, but when I looked back on book 1, I saw that I had no breaking point for my character. He trained, he fought, he won. Not without nearly dying or being badly hurt, he had won. Then Shane did hit that breaking point between books 1 and 2 because I had the MC begin to doubt if this life was the life he wanted, and he grew concerned that being back in his old life was putting innocent people in danger. I had done this for 2 reasons. The first was I did not feel the MC needed to suffer any more than he would be going through the series, any more than I had already planned out. Plus, I did not want the character to grow too fast. Part of what makes this story work is the reveal of the villain's plan. So by not having a breaking point before the showdown, did what I needed the story to do. Does this work for every writer? It worked for me. And my readers, many of which were on the fence about my series, ended up loving it. They said it was perfect for the first book. So, like an artist, do it your way. And remember, you are the writer. You do not have to follow a planned out format. Number 2, do not send a message. Okay, so I get you have a story to tell, and you want to get your story out to the world. But here's the thing. This is art, as stated in advice number 1. So tell a story that's interesting and entertaining. You can work in a message, that's great. But I implore you, keep messages out of your story. We live in a time and age where the entertainment industry is being flooded with messages that cause disputes, arguments, and fights. Trying to send messages can limit and hurt you in the long run. In my personal opinion, first off, messages can go over well. It can be done. There is a way to do it, but there is a secret, which is do not spotlight the message. Look at Ellen Ripley from Alien. She was a strong female lead from the 80s in sci-fi, but they did not go out of their way to make all the other characters dumb. Each had their own strength, but they just got outwitted by the alien. And it came off that she barely managed to struggle through and find the only way to survive. What she did could have been done by anyone. Her gender was not why she survived. That is the secret. Do not wave your arms and say, "Hey, look at my character. She's a strong female lead." People are sick of that. It gets many people angry. As for 2, do not insult your audience. Yes, you created the story, but when you step on people to get your message out there, it turns people off from being on your side. Granted, you have mindless drones that will side with you because they blindly promote this message or idea, but when you put down everyone else, how can you defend it? There's a movie that they flipped the gender of a certain characters, and these reimagined main characters were odd, gross, and very unlikable. But the thing was that as bad as they were, the filmmakers made every single other person in the world even worse and over the top mean or dumb. Whereas the original film felt very real, like it could happen in the real world. Stories do not have to send a message. They can simply be entertaining. It does not have to solve world problems. Honestly, the best thing you can do if you really, really want to send a message is hide it. Slip it in the background where it really takes someone digging up to understand the message is there. This way, readers will have to reread your book multiple times to find it. But my best advice is to try and stay away from getting political. If you can't avoid it, for example, if you're writing a fictional story that takes place in the past and revolves around racism or real life events, you could change it a little and make it a parallel universe, or just stick to the facts. Don't try to change what clearly is not possible because it's history. It's been done. Stephen King has a bully in his book It that is very racist, but the story does not go out of its way to fight racism. It does not try to change history. So if you feel you have to do it and you really have no choice, fine, but keep it subtle. Don't step on everyone to drive the point home. That is what Hollywood is doing, and I constantly hear reviewers talking about how sick the people are of hearing this, yet Hollywood keeps doing it, even though they're losing money and destroying really good stories. Number 3, plan ahead. So, of course, most writers will tell you to outline your story, which, yes, you should definitely do. I will not disagree. You do not have to treat the outline as a firm stance. In my series, The Guardian of Light, I did not do a traditional outline. More like a series storyboard. So, to finish off this, I say do an outline, but as you go, do not be solely reliant on the outline. Number 4, listen to that little voice. By this, I simply mean listen to your subconscious. As I have been writing my series, I have come across things that I have found that have influenced me. For example, there is a relationship between two characters, which I had planned out from the start. This was practically written in stone from the word go. Then, as I finished book 2, I listened to a song that I had not heard in a long time. And as I was listening to the song, I heard the words, and it was like I was dragged into the future. I saw this scene in my head with these two characters. The words match perfectly. I realized somewhere in the back of my mind I must have been thinking about this song when I decided these two characters would end up together. J.K. Rowling, from what I have heard from many Potter fans, says she did not like matching up Hermione and Ron together. thing is that this pairing of those two characters makes complete sense. She set it up in book 1. And I will dive into that whole thing in another video. My next video, in fact. But, thing is, somewhere in the back of her mind, she must have always wanted to pair them together. When you look closely, it does make sense. She should not be afraid of that. Many writers or storytellers seem to do that a lot lately. They seem to tell a story and either they do not fully understand what they are writing and cannot convey that to the audience, or they retcon it because people don't understand it. Star Wars is a huge example of this fact. So really look at your work and see if there are story elements you added in and missed. Your subconscious might have slipped something you never expected, but might want to be aware of ahead of time. Number 5, be brave and creative. For my last piece of writing advice, what I mean by be brave and creative is simply this. This is your story. I already said don't send a message, but more to that is try something new. I have a friend, and he said he thought about maybe writing a story. He is very heavy into manga, and he said he would love to do something like that, but he can't draw. I told him to work with an artist, and together they could create a graphic novel. But then I took a second to think, and I gave him an idea. Combine a graphic novel with a regular novel. Comic-like arts on one side, and the written word on the other side. Using the art to show, and using the words to tell. Well, he told me I was stupid and that was a dumb idea because no one had ever done that before. I nicely told my friend that was the point. No one has done it before, and therefore he would be the first one to do it. I have a book that is not like any other book I've ever owned. To this day, I have a hard time getting through it. Mostly being a single father and a writer, I'm busy all the time. The book is called The House of Leaves. I love the song Hey Pretty by Poe, and I wish I could find it as an audiobook. That way I'd be able to listen to the story while I work. Unfortunately, that is not the case. But the thing is that the book, from what I've seen, is unlike any other book I've seen before. Maybe one day, if my book series takes off, I might have the time to read. Who knows? The point is, if you think of an idea and it has never been done before, go for it. My series revolves around a character that is mainly used in children's books. This series is the first time this character, this MC, is taken in a serious direction for teens and adults. Sadly, it makes it hard to market because if I say the name he is known by, people will assume it's a children's book, which is why I settled on the title, The Guardian of Light. I took a risk, and I was brave, and from what every single reader of my series tells me, it's great and unexpected. I honestly thought when people beta read my book, they were going to hate this. And they loved it. And I even begged them for anything negative. I said, don't hold back, be 100% honest. And no, I know what you might be thinking, these were my friends, but they weren't. They were my coworkers. And my coworkers have no trouble telling me what they think of me. So, when I published I readied myself for many bad reviews, but so far they have been fairly positive. I know that in the near future I will probably get a troll reviewer that will trash it, but we will touch on that in another video as well. So be brave. You wrote or are writing a book. Be creative, and remember, people read to be entertained. You do not have to send a message or drill home an agenda just to make a good story interesting. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my channel. If you've read my series, The Guardian of Light, please visit my in-depth website for news and updates and more. Or if you have not read it yet, please visit Amazon and pick up your copy today. I want to wish you all the best and happy writing.